So this is the evening of the 12th of September. Sorry, the morning here and evening of midnight here in the United States. And as we see the Gnani coming in for the third day of the Parayan in his car here to enter the satsang hall. And this is the Parayan, the second day of the Parayan of Aptavani 13. And he greets a few people who are out there. As he goes in front of Lord Simandar, Namo Arihantanam, my highest namaskars to you, my Lord. I'm as pure as you are, let me be aware of that. And to Lord Krishna, Gnani Sri Krishna, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevai. And to the symbolic representation of Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, and to Gnani Purush Dadashri, Namo Arihantanam. For all practical purposes, he is our Tirthankar, our Gnani Purush Dadashri. As he moves over to the celestial deities, starting with Ma Amba, who represents the naturalness of the Prakruti, the energy force. Ma Amba, Goddess Amba, represents the energy of existence, Adya Shakti. And Ma Niruma, Mother Niruma, as the previous Gnani came to be known, because of her absolute love for everyone. And we see more flowers at the top of the picture here. Niruma, our highest namaskars to you, Ma. And moving over to Ma Padmavati Devi. Padmavati Devi, who represents the energy that prevents all obstructions for us all on the path of liberation, as we see a flower fall down from Ma Padmavati into the lap, a symbolic sign of auspiciousness for this work of Lord, for our Gnani Deepak Bhai. It often happens. He is extra graced by Ma Padmavati Devi. As he faces the thousands of Mahatmas who are here, we don't have an official count, but they are all have come from all over India, mostly from Gujarat, but also from abroad. to attend this satsang. We're going to be reading this on the iBook of Prakruti. We are going to be reading page 44 of 399. Page 44, which is where it begins with the heading of difference between Prakruti and nature. The differences between Prakruti and nature. Just waiting for the image to come on. A very special Jai Sat Chidanand to all the Mahatmas who are listening to this informal live English voiceover. As we see our Gnani open up the book on Aptavani 13. Aptavani 13, as you know, is in 2 volumes. We are in volume 1. Jai Satchidanand. I bow to the Absolute Self, Paramatma, who resides within each one of you with deep devotion and continued sense of oneness. Jai Satchidanand. Let us read further. Page 8. The heading is Difference between Prakruti and Kudrat, or nature. Questioner, please explain what is Prakruti, what is nature? Dadashri says, what nature results into is Prakruti. When 2 atoms of hydrogen and an oxygen atom are separate, that is called nature, and when they come together and it becomes water, then it is called Prakruti. Therefore, nature is different and Prakruti is different. Purush the self has a vote in the Prakruti. Prakruti carries the vote of the Purush, and the nature does not have the vote of the Purush. It is scientific circumstantial evidence. And this is when there is a result of scientific circumstantial evidence, then it is called Prakruti. Formation of our body happens by 5 elements coming together, which is called Prakruti. When all the elements are separate, it is called nature. As long as air, space, light and are separate, it is called nature. And when they come together to form this body, it is called Prakruti. One needs a doer in the Prakruti, and no doer is there in nature. Nature itself is in natural creation. You see, nature, when you have all the various ingredients that is to make a cake, it is called nature, and when there is a cheesecake is made, it is called Prakruti. Relationship between Prakruti and the self. Questioner, what is the relation of Prakruti to the self? Dadashri says there is no relation of Prakruti to the self, Atma, but Prakruti keeps arising in the presence of the self. Such circumstances arises that their presence gives rise to Prakruti. Now, if a Gnani Purush separates these circumstances, then nothing of the sort will happen after that. So one will have to go beyond that illusion. He will have to become a Purush. This is Prakriti is full of illusion. You see? The self is absorbed as the Prakriti, and therefore he is a Prakriti, and the Prakriti gets discharging, and he says, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this these words, and therefore he gets caught up into the illusion. But when he goes beyond this illusion and becomes filled with Gnan, the knowledge of the self, then the Prakriti dissolves. When you believe this as Chandubai, that belief itself does the charging. This very belief is the one that charging. And then Chandubai, and so if this sofa state believes that I am the stage, then one day, somebody said, oh, get rid of the sofa from on the stage. Then he realized, oh, I'm not the stage. I am separate from the stage, you see. That day he will have the Suj, he will the vision. And then he will come in the awareness that I am the sofa that is on the stage. However, but it is just, he is not become one with it, but it is just his belief that he says that I am this Chandu. And then and that a new Prakruti arises and a new anger, pride, deceit and greed continues to arise. And then the discharge. And so causes and effect continue like this. But now we have the Gnan, and therefore we can, and then we have the Bhan, we have the awareness. Gnan means knowledge, Bhan means awareness. When you believe this as Chandubai, that belief itself does the charging, and then Chandubai only has come into the bondage. Only Chandubai. When you retain this Gnan, when you become aware of the self, then you cease to charge. Only discharge remains, and that cannot be stopped. But if it is effective, then no one can stop the effective. One can stop eating charge, but what about what he has already eaten? He has no choice but to go to the toilet for it, discharge, does he not? Hence, whatever one has been given, this whoever has been given this non-charging has stopped for them. The effect does not stop, but 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 we don't. But because of lack of awareness, one continues to have interferences in the effect because of the lack of awareness of who he is. That is all. Questioner. Externally, we have so many prakrutis. Why do we see so many differences? This is, you see, this is Deepak's Prakruti, the other one is Precious Prakruti. They call it Nisarg for Kudrat. It's called Kudrat, nature. Prakruti means our own Prakruti, the form complex. In the Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ankar, except for the soul, wherever one believes that I am this body, that is called Prakruti. One has created it, has come into the extra intent, and then he has created it, you see, in the last life. And other people call it Nisarg. Some other people say this all is Prakruti only. But who is more powerful, Prakruti or the soul? Nature is altogether different. Prakruti is, we are bound by the Prakruti, this complex, the form complex of mind, speech and body, and therefore everybody gets the same kind of heat. However, everybody will say, oh, this is so hot, this is so hot, it is so hot, it's so hot. But we just, the heat may be there, but let us continue with our work. Everybody has got the same temperature in Ahmedabad city right now, more than 100 degrees. However, but some people will feel the heat much more than the others, you see. The heat will continue to do its work and I will continue to do my work. That is the approach. After an hour he might drink 1 liter of water, but that is how it is. The body is adjustable. You see, the body can adjust to the temperature, but it's the ego that keeps on saying, I cannot stand it, I cannot suffer it, this is too hot. It's the ego. It's the ego that says, if the ego does not interfere, then one can continue to adjust very beautifully. It is very adjustable. The body is very adjustable. It's the ego that doesn't want to adjust. Questioner. Somebody is asking question. After reading the entire chapter, Dadashri clearly talks about the Prakruti that has already frozen from past life and now is thawing in this life. Yes, that is what is called Prakruti, that which was, and it cannot be changed at all. You see, that which could be changed is the Bhava. The Bhava's belief, the middleman, the ego complex, that can be changed, you see. And when the Bhava becomes separate from the Prakruti, that becomes the Gnani Bhava, the awakened one. The awakened one, when he becomes separate from the Prakruti, and then Prakruti is under the influence of Vyavasti. I am pure soul. Then this particular Prakruti is now under the control of scientific circumstantial evidences. You cannot, yes, you can. And so then, if you interfere with your ego in this chart, then that is the interference of the ego. You see, but but the moment you became the Gnani Bhava, the awakened one, and then you see, then you stop interfering with that which is happening in Vyavasthit, and therefore you are egoless. You see. You see, Prakruti is making you eat, and you say, I am eating. The Prakruti is making you go to the toilet, and you say, I went to the toilet. The Prakruti having the feelings, and you say, I am having the feelings, etc. You see, so in other words, the Adashri found this out, that the I must be separate from all of this, and this is the I that is separate from the Prakruti. You see, and so yeah. And we become separate through this Vignan, you see, through this science, that this frozen part is called the Prakruti. And if you become Tanmayakar, absorbed in that Prakruti, then, and when you become, when you remain as Prakruti Mai, as the Prakruti, then that is your weakness. That which was charged in the last life is discharging in this life only. You see, that is all. Anger, pride, deceit, and greed. No, yeah, no. Anger, pride, deceit, and greed, they are actually ingrained in the Prakriti only. But they increase and decrease. We can't do anything. You can just kind of remain separate and see the anger, pride, deceit, and greed reactions that arise. As long as you don't react with them again, then you see they are going to give their effects and go away. That is all. Therefore, so if we become separate, and if you give, and if if you talk to the Prakriti, and if you talk to the Prakriti and says, why are you doing this, then it will have its, you see, it is a very subtle way of talking to the Prakriti. You see, most of our Mahatmas do not enter into Prakriti at all. You let the Prakriti unfold the way it is unfolding. That is all. And they conduct themselves with the Prakriti so that they don't get burnt with the Prakriti at all. Can we call it Kudrat, nature? No, it is. No, yes. Yeah, so it is Mr. Chetan Chetan and then Nischetan Chetan, you see. While charging, it is called Mr. Chetan, and when it is discharging, it is called Nischetan Chetan. No knowing element in it. Questioner, after this question, when on page 8, the Pudgal Paramanus, they get, why, when, when when it is in Mishra, the subatomic particles are mixed, we cannot see it, but when it is ready to give its result, we don't even know what are the thoughts that are going to have. The conduct and the speech is evident. However, then it is giving the effect. You see, but the charged subatomic particles cannot be seen. They can only be seen. Mishra cannot be seen at by us, but they can be seen through Kevad Gnan, absolute knowledge. We said that the Prakriti is the result of SCE, scientific circumstantial evidences. But because it is one and the same, but because there is the interference of there is the interference of the ego, and therefore, yes, there is the original nature, and then there is the formed nature of your own complex, you see. Kudrat means, nature means to bring together all the circumstances. And then why does the effect, when the circumstances came, why did it affect me? Therefore, it is our own vyavasthit. Yes, there is kudrat for everyone, nature, but the effects that come to us, that is our vyavasthit. That is our effect. The Purush has the vote, you see, which says the Purush has one vote. And he is the one who really created the cause and attracted the subatomic particles in the last life. And because we use the water as a cause, water is a cause, and then it was used in our field, and therefore it created the results of what grew in our field, in our farm. You see, earth, wind, water, fire, and space, it is all Kudrat, you see. But we also in this body, we have this earth, wind, water, fire, you see, and space, and that is all our body too, you see. That is the Panch Mahabhut, the five, you see, ether, space, which is just then wind, water, fire, you see. That, and we say that it is the result of scientific circumstantial evidences that our body complex has arisen in front of us, and it is giving its effect, and that is called the Prakruti. You see, now when you boil different masala, tea, and water and milk, etc., that is called kudrat different. But when the result comes, then a nice cup of tea that have arises, that is called prakruti. You see, the prakruti of the tea has, and then she will say, "Oh, I made it. I know how to make a good cup of tea. You see, I know how to make a." The lesser the ego, the better the tea will be made, says Deepak Bhai, because you see. Now, how can we relate the two, Prakruti and Vyavasthit? Prakriti is, it is our own. When the Dada is talking about Prakriti, we are talking about our own Prakriti, the formed complex in front of us. Prakriti is the result. Prakriti is, Prakriti is dissolving and Vyavasthit is helping it dissolve. Prakriti is giving its results on the basis, and the mother or the nature, the giver of the results is the gathering together of scientific circumstantial evidences. You see, now you go down the steps without your slippers, and then every day you go down with a pair of your slippers, but the day you go down with your slippers, you get your a thorn hits your foot, you see, and so, or a piece of glass hits your foot, you see, and you see the staircases, and also the slippers, etc., and the going down and the space and the time, and all of this is called kudrat. But you see, when it hits you and when you start bleeding, that is your own circumstance, the scientific circumstantial evidences that came together, and that is your prakriti. And then and then your prakriti, therefore it gives an effect. This prakriti made you suffer, you see, made the bleeding had because of our own causes, the bleeding happened in the foot. Eh, You see, during the suffering, it is called vyavasthit, you see, but when there is an effect, it comes and goes and comes and goes, you see. Now, questioner, after attaining the Gnan, Prakruti that has arisen due to Vishesh Bhav, extra view or intent, then the self be kept separate, that the Shri says, it is separate and it remains separate. I can see that it is separate, but the belief of the past that you are still stuck with it, you cannot get rid of. You see, you have the habit, don't you? It will gradually leave. However, it is separate. However, it is separate. The self remains separate for you. You see? Because of your residual ignorance and belief, therefore you believe that you are this Prakriti, but it actually you are separate. If somebody is insulting you, it is on the basis of all of these things around the space, time, and the effect, etc. Evidences. That is how the insult happened. However, it is not. You're not being insulted. I am separate. This is not happening. It is the Prakriti that is getting insulted, and then one remains separate, and then he remains separate in all insults. It is separate. You see. But, but now you need to continue to reinforce it by saying that I am the knower and seer of that which is happening due to the Prakriti, and that is the Purusharth. And when you become, when the result comes, when you become Tanmayakar, the body, mind, form, engrossment, then at that time then you have to, then you have, with awareness, you have to remain separate, and then you are entering into penance, you see, and there will be pain associated with it, there will be heating, but it will be the Prakriti that will heat it up, and you can continue to remain to see the Prakriti that becomes red hot, and then when it cools down, then when you can see the entire penance is over, then you can remain separate, and that is called the Purusharth, you see. Now, so we are finishing up the chapter 1, now on page 49 of the I book of Prakruti. We are on page, you see, we are entering chapter 1.2, Prakruti in the form of result, you see. So And at every event and everything, you have to keep it separate. That is the Purusharth. To keep it separate in every event, that is called the Purusharth. The progresses, this S capital self. In Prakruti, there Purush has the vote. The vote means, you see, the Vishesh Bhav is the vote, you see, vote. And then, of course, it gives this result at the causal Prakruti and then the effect Prakruti. Then you keep them separate from the Sanjog, circumstantial evidences, which is called Sanjay. You become separate from the circumstances, that is called Sanjay. Then you are the self, you see. And then Sanjay is this body complex, you see. You see, where it touches you, that is where the belief is, you see. Where it touches you. When mind, thought, and speech, mind, speech, and activity, they are effective, you see, and they are under the effect of scientific circumstantial evidences. So the Gnani Purush Dadashri keeps you awakened and aware from your belief in ignorance, which makes you believe that in that which is happening, you believe that I am doing it, and also, and you become the owner of when anger and pride happens, you say they are happening to me. That is, the discharge ego will say that I am angry or I am upset or this and that. But at the speed, it is the discharge ego. My father used to do this. How dare you tell me this, etc. You say, my father is like this, my mother is like this, etc. But it is all part of the discharging process. But in the belief, because of the discharging ego believes that I am Chandu, I am Chandu. However, you really need to be separate from the one who believes in even in discharge that I am this body complex, and that is the Prakruti, you see. And this is the Prakruti. And then now he has become the Purush. Purush means the S capital self. And the Prachagnas, the five agnas for the one who is separated, and that is called the Purush. You see, that is the one who is awakened, the pure soul, the Amapura. And the Prakruti, the nature is continuously and constantly changing. When everything gets together in front of you, and it changes, you see. And this is all a scientific construct. It is not a construct of a god overhead. And if you just understand this, then you will understand everything very correctly. But in all of this, he believes that I am the one. This is happening to me, and that is the fundamental mistake. I know, which he says, no, I am not this. I am not this Prakruti. This Prakruti is a result of SCE, scientific circumstantial evidences that have gathered together. It might be a very wonderful Prakriti, it might be a most horrible Prakriti, but it doesn't belong to you. It is a filled stock that is in front of you, that is now unfolding. That is all there is. You do not ever believe that it is yours at all. What happened because of the extra intent in the last life, that this, and then that Pudgal arose, and in filling and emptying Purangalan, Pudgal, as long as that belief that this is my Pudgal, I am this body, and then then there is the suffering and the identification with the Prakruti in discharge. But you see, now the Gnani has changed the vision. He has changed the vision it changed the angle of the vision. It says, no, I am not this which I am this, the soul only. Even the sofa realizes that I am not the stage, because I am actually only sitting on the stage, you see. The vision got totally changed. The vision that was externalized, it comes back to this vision of the self as capital. And drashti drashtama padi, in other words, the vision got turned into the direction of the knower and the seer, rather than in the direction of the doer and the sufferer of that which was happening in discharge. That is all. The vision direction got changed. And do I have to see where the I-ness happens in the Prakruti? Where you see, when the I-ness kind of may enter into the Prakruti, or the I-ness kind of, you see, and then there is a separation. That is a separation of the discharge. The I-ness, the first step is not to kind of mix the two, you see. Even now, your old habits and your old beliefs are still there. You will still believe that I am this body, and therefore that is your I-ness that is prevailing. at a very subtle level. At the subtler level, the I-ness prevails, you see. And but now you have to say, no, this is the Prakruti, you are free from it all. First separate from the Prakruti, and then you will see, then you will be able to see Prakruti as a Gnei, that which is to be known only, that is all. Gneya. Chapter, this is the entire chapter. The Prakruti is very beautiful here. Prakruti is in the form of a result. Do Prakruti and life live together is a question. Questioner. Despite being miserable, why does a human being keep getting embroiled in this worldly life? Dadashri says he's not getting entangled, he's suffering from pain, he wants to be free, he does not like it, but he has no control over it. He's under the control of Prakruti. He can be free if he becomes free from the Prakruti. Otherwise, Prakruti will continue entangling him. Prakruti has been already formed. You are under its control, so you do not have any say in it. All you can do now is to become free from this Prakriti. Until you become free from it, it will continue to entrangle you. One becomes dependent on the Prakriti and then one wanders around the world. Questioner. It is said that the life and Prakriti live together at the same time of death. So then what should one do? This is a very simple question, but Dada is now opening up the science. You see, he remains as the Prakruti, and therefore the Prakruti continues to entangle him. He is Prakruti Mai. In other words, he has become the Prakruti only, the non-self only. And you see, then you see, and the one is trying to push away the circumstances, but he cannot let go of the Prakriti. And if once he lets go of the Prakriti, then he becomes the Purush. You see, Prakriti is giving its effect, and it was going to empty and go, but one continues to protect the Prakriti, and therefore once the Prakriti becomes free from it, that I am not this, you see, and then having entangled, the easiest solution is to Agna-1, Agna-2, that, you just come in to remain separate from the Prakriti. This is all relative, and then you see, these are all circumstances which are causing the entanglement, the sanyoga. The circumstances by nature come together, and by nature they are going to disassociate. And I have nothing to do with it, but to see that these circumstances are actually of the Prakriti, and they are not mine. So Dadashri never kind of improved the Prakriti for you, of any one of us, never touched it. You see, somebody may be very angry, somebody may be very calm and mild, the other did not touch it at all. He just separated us from the Prakriti, the awakened one from the Prakriti, that is all. And the way it was bound, the way in which it was created, that is the way in which it will unfold and go away. Questioner. It is said that life and Prakriti live together at the same time of the death. So then what should one do? She says, yes, they live together. It means that some Prakriti is reduced by attaining Gnan. Prakriti means avaran. It is the veil of ignorance. So if you have such a veil, avaran here, then you cannot wander wherever you wish. If the veil is removed, that much less Prakriti it becomes. However, if one is bound a very strong Prakriti, one of a very dense veil, then he will not be freed from it even when he dies. It will seem exactly the way it was. His Prakriti will not go away. It is the same whenever you look, even when he takes a beating because of it. If one's Prakriti is stealing, he will get a beating, and yet he will continue to steal. If he's of bad conduct, he will continue to suffer for it, and his Prakriti will remain the same. He is overpowered by his own Prakriti and does all this. And he believes that he is doing it. Even when he takes a beating, he continues to continue in his old conduct, on his misconduct and his charitra, his negative conduct in society, you see. That is, Prakriti is making him steal, but he believes that I am doing it, you see. And he says, and so he becomes Prakriti Mai. He becomes absorbed as the Prakriti. He believes I am the one who is stealing. You see, this is happening to me. Do all the 8 karma work as veils over the Prakriti, or is just only the veil over the Gnan and over the Darshan? No, all the 8 karma work as veils over the Prakriti. There are 4. There are 4 Ghati and other 4 Aghati karma. 4 have to be suffered. The 4 do not have to be suffered. Let us not go into the details of the Gnana Varana, etc. right now. Right now, focus on the Prakriti only. on this exact. This is Jaya is a Prakruti and I am the pure soul. That is all. Now don't try to go into all of this Dravya Karma. When we go into Dravya Karma, we'll talk about the 8 different kinds of karma. When he becomes a donation, he is under the control of the Prakruti, not through Gnan. And when he steals, he is under the control of Prakruti. You see, when the stealing or the charity is happening, he believes that I am doing it. But it is all happening as part of a discharging Prakruti. That is all. When the Gnana of the Prakruti, the non-self, and the Purush, the self happens, that who am I and what is this Prakruti, they both separate. That is when there will be freedom, otherwise not. You are the Purush, the self is Purush, and this body complex is Prakruti. As long as there is the control of Prakruti, Purush does not have any say. You see, as long as sofa, the sofa believes the sofa set, the sofa means the easy chair, sofa believes that I am the stage too. But when he is removed from the stage, then he will say, "Oh, I am the only the chair. The stage is separate. You are Purush, and the self is Purush, and the self is Purush, and this body complex is Prakriti. As long as there is control of Prakriti, Purush does not have any say. When Purush becomes separate from the Prakriti, then Purush indeed has all the say. You can be free when you know who am I and it comes into your experience, Y capital. Otherwise, these pains will continue coming at you for sure. You will have to constantly suffer the pains of your worldly life. At times you will have peace, and at other times the turmoil. It is because of the Prakriti. Real happiness is not in this Prakriti at all. This peace and turmoil are both imaginary things only. Kalpit. It is not real happiness. Real happiness is eternal. Once it comes, it never leaves. Whenever anything happens, the Prakriti, you believe it happened to me, and that is real. That is what the real problem. I fell down. I will develop cancer. I am sick, etc. All of those things. It is all happening to the Prakriti. There is no reason at all to enter into these pains at all. You are the Purush. You are indeed separate from the. With real happiness, even if you were thrown in jail, you will not have any problem at all. Turmoil, for some there will be little bit of peace. It is because of Prakriti. Real happiness is not in this Prakriti at all. You see, Prakriti gives pleasure and pain, but to believe that it is happening to me, because the Prakriti is effective, then you feel the effects of pleasure and pain. But the body may feel heat or the body may feel coolness, and this is Shata or Sata. If it is winter, you will feel, they call it Ashata if it is cold, and the same Ashata when it is cold in summer, then you will call it pleasure. You see, so and depending on the winter external temperatures, you see, when you say that it's not happening to me, it is happening to the body is effective. I am in my own bliss, nothing is happening to me, and therefore you are in knowledge and you are in Gnan, and therefore you are in exactness. You see, the Prakriti is under Shata and Ashata. So these two things are both imaginary. The peace and the turmoil, Shata and Ashata, are both imaginary. It is not real happiness. Real happiness is eternal. Once it comes, it never leaves. With real happiness, even if you are thrown in jail, you will not have any problems. Turmoil will not arise, disturbance. You will say, if you are locked up in jail, you say, every night I had to lock my door, but today the other says, I don't even have to worry about locking from my home from inside. They are locking it from outside. That's fine. You say, I'm not this body at all. Then I'm absolutely independent. Am I not? The body is the Prakriti that is under the influences of some other factor under SCE only. And then when we talk about the Chorni Prakriti, that means that when we talk about the Prakriti of a thief, the Prakriti of a greedy one, we should not be seeing anybody else. We should be seeing our own Prakriti and see to what extent our Prakriti is a thief, to what extent our Prakriti is a greedy one. You see, and we should, there are all kinds of Prakriti around us, but we do not have to talk about other Prakritis. We just really need to we need to be aware of our own Prakriti only, and exactly be aware in terms of what is happening to this Prakriti only. There are, infinite kinds of Prakriti all around us. We need to see them only, and we need to see our Prakriti and see, and then once you become free from your own Prakriti, then you'll be able to see all Prakritis exactly. Yeah, we do not want anything negative to happen through the Prakriti, but if it happens, then we really need to remain separate from it and see. We need to just simply understand and recognize and see the Prakriti as it is. Questioner, some people, when they do not have any peace, They take poison and kill themselves to be in peace. Shanti. Dadashri says, yes, but what can he do? And it is not that one drinks poison. He does not deliberately drink poison. Prakruti makes him drink it. One does not have the energy even to evacuate his own bowels. You see, this is the Gnani Purush. You see, amazing. Look at it. The Gnani can show it and says, he's not drinking the poison to commit suicide. Prakruti is making him drink the poison. You guys, Lord Krishna did not have it either, and Lord Mahavir did not have it either, and I do not have it too. All this is under the control of Prakruti. God was God. He was Lord Krishna. He had become Purush, and so he knew this Prakruti. This is Prakruti, is how he would continue to know and know it. And just as one knows a neighbor, it is very much worth knowing this inner science, says Dadashri. Here, beautiful words about Gnani Purush Sri Krishna given by Dadashri here. Yes, now he knew that. You see, when he sees other Prakrutis, just as you see a movie, that is how he will look at the movie. Supposing he will see your video exactly as it is doing, and so he will. You see, he will see. He says. You see, he will see. He knows that he'll come down the stairs without slippers, and he knows that he will get a thorn in his foot, but he will continue forward as if it is happening to the neighbor only. He will never be the owner of the Prakruti at all. Or Gnani Purush Dadashri, he continued to remain as the soul only. And then he always treated this Prakruti as the first neighbor. You see, first neighbor. Deepak Bhai uses the word neighborer, but it is neighbor. Neighbor, it is the first neighbor. And so no matter what kind of work, whether it is heinous or very magnificent and helpful to others, very harmful or very helpful, he is not, it is the Puran. What was filled in the Prakriti is discharging, Galan. It is emptying. What was filled is discharging. If the good was filled, the good will come out. If it was the bad was filled, the bad will come out. You see? It is page one heading. One dances to the tune of Prakriti. One dances as his Prakriti makes him dance. He loses the awareness of what is to his benefit and what is harmful to him. When Prakriti makes him angry, he ends up becoming angry. He even cries when the Prakriti makes him cry. He does not feel ashamed of doing that. He sobs and he cries his eyes out. Pote, you see? And you see, in other words, and this is, you see, Prakriti is making you cries and he says, I'm crying, you see? The big drops of tears will also come out. It is a Prakriti that is crying, you see? You see, nothing, none. But you see, he becomes Prakruti Maya, M-A-Y. That means he becomes a Prakruti. He's not even feel ashamed of doing the drug. He sobs and cries his eyes out. You see, big questioner. Does Prakruti make one cry or karma do? Dadashri says karma verily means Prakruti. This is considered the main Prakruti. Prakruti indeed runs everything. Now, this is the main Prakriti, means this is the causal Prakriti. By the way, on page 55 now, this word main Prakriti means this is a causal Prakriti. Prakriti indeed ruins everything. It is a Prakriti that does it, and one says, I did it, and that is called egoism. That is called egoism. Means Prakriti, and then Prakriti does it, and that means it is the effective Prakriti, you see. The main, and today he says that it is egoism. I'm doing it, you see. So that means a new karma gets charged when he says that egoism means I'm doing it. So then there is the self with the I, and then it is the causal Prakriti, and then the effect Prakriti, you see. That is the karma and the karma effect. You see, who asks for tea? Prakriti does. Who asks for sweet dessert? Who becomes hungry? Who becomes thirsty? Prakriti does. Who feels insulted when insulted? It is the Prakriti. Who goes to the toilet? Does the self, Atma, go? No, all this is Prakriti. And what do people say? I went to the toilet and I could not go. I could not relieve myself properly. Does Prakriti get hungry or you get hungry? Questioner replies, Prakriti does. You see? Yes, Prakriti does. And one says, I became hungry. And then I became hungry. There's nothing wrong in saying in the worldly interaction. No problem in saying it dramatically, as if you are in a drama. But one says it as if it is believing that. In worldly interaction, in drama, you just have to say it. You see. He says, I was hungry and therefore I ate. But you see, that is his belief. You see, But he should, while he's saying that, he should be aware that this Prakruti is saying that he was hungry and therefore he ate the food. So it begins with belief, and then there is Jagruti, and then there is Anubhava. Initially there is a belief, and then there is the awareness, and then there is the experience. And then the belief is, well, who became hungry? Who am I in this? Who is eating, and who am I in this? And there is a Purusharth. The one with experience, you see, he will, he is dramatic. He will speak, you see. And the one in the experience of the soul, he will say that, oh yeah, the eater is eating, the speaker is eating, and I, the non-speaker, is simply the knower of it, you see. The eater is eating, the speaker is speaking, I'm simply the knower. And, when he does not, the entire, I am this Prakruti, and therefore I have no awareness of what is good for me and what is not good for me. Hu Pano, the I-ness, you see, has established into the ego is now operational, you see. And there is a wrong belief, is it not? Yes, it's a belief. But who is the owner of that belief? It's the ego. The ego. And then he is now behaving as Chandu, that is all, Chandulal, you see. He does not have any kind of awareness of what is good, beneficial for him. Chandulal does not have any awareness of what is beneficial for him or hurtful for him. You see, then we are beyond all of the spiritual as well as relative. We are in the real. You see, we have passed all the spiritual world and entered into the realm of the real. You see, and Dadashri has fitted us into the exact spirituality, which is that I am the knower of all this is happening to the Prakruti. But one dances according to the tune of the Prakruti, which means the ego that had bound this kind of thing. Initially ego. You see, the one had created a habit, and then the Prakruti then becomes habituated to it. One has the habit, one forms the habit, I need it, and he gets habit. So what is the role of habit and recurrent habit in all of this, you see? Every day when you say, I like this food very much, if you give it to me, I will eat it every day, then you are creating a habit, you see? And the intellect says, I like this food, and then the Prakruti then gets bound in that way, and then the Prakruti then demands this kind of food, and if it doesn't get the sweet food, it gets upset about it, you see. But that was in the last life. It was, you see, when today you have thoughts of sexuality or thoughts of certain food, then you should know that these are all the demands of the Prakruti, but this is what was created as causes in the last life and is happening in this life. And then if it comes, I will eat it, but I'm not going to go run after it as far as food is concerned, you see. And we need to understand that the Prakruti is showing this, and we need to find out what really comes in front of Prakruti. Initially, you need to be aware of the signals of the food that come, and then you should be interesting to see what food comes in front of you. The Prakruti is giving its effect, and we can see I am the knower of the Prakruti, and ego is the owner of the Prakruti. I am the knower of the Prakruti, and ego is the owner of the Prakruti in this charge, you see. And you see this, if the food doesn't come in front of this Prakruti, then it means that the account wasn't there at all. I don't have any such intense demand that it must come in front of it, you see. Let us see what happens, but it is said that whatever is there at the subtle level, it will come in. And you see, the charging first happens at the subtle level, and then at the subtle level, you see, the charging happens at the subtle level, and then it is ready also to discharge at the subtle level first, and then it discharges at the gross level, you see. So then it says the subatomic particles are existing as dravya karma, the yellow glasses, you see, and they are ready to discharge at the subtle level. But you see, they are ready to give their effects at the subtle level, and then they kind of express at the more visible level, and that is called the sthul karma or the gross karma. You see, then if it is there in the dravya karma, whatever is there in dravya karma is going to come in front of you for sure. But we do not know. It comes in front of you in 2 or 3 different ways, you see. It can discharge through thoughts, speech, or it can for conduct, you see. If it is on, if it is not in conduct, it's not going to come. If it is in speech only, it will come. And some people, it just comes out on in this in dream only. You may have a wet dream, you see, a sexual dream, but it's just there only. That's all. So you see, so even is this is supposing you say you did satsang in a dream, that means it's a leakage in a dream, you see. It is a every dream is a discharge too, you see. Every dream is a discharge, just as there is every every thought is a discharge, you see. So every word is a discharge. Knowing the self, Purush and Prakruti will become separate. Then Prakruti carries out a role of the Prakruti and Purush carries out the role of the Purush. After attaining this Gnan, doership is gone. I become a Purush and Prakruti became separate. You became a Purush and Prakruti became completely separate, and therefore Purush can do the Purusharth, progress as the self. Prakruti cannot do Purusharth, can it? And Prakruti's Purusharth effort is considered illusory Purusharth. As it is, Prakriti is not under one's control. On the contrary, it makes one dance, and we are under its control. Prakriti is not under our control. It is because whatever Prakriti that has been formed in the past life, it is an effect, and no one can do anything in the effect. Hence, we have to suffer the effect, and so we have to remain under its control. Therefore, we as the Purush have to do Purusharth, and Prakriti will exercise its force. When you do this by capital, you will gradually become separate from the Prakriti, and the Prakriti will come to an end. There is no new income, and the old one goes away. And when there is this charge and no new charge, the Prakriti comes to an end. And this is the Purusharth that Mahatmas have to do. Mahat, you know, the Vyavasthit is such that you will become Tanmayakara, absorbed in that which is happening. As soon as you have a jalebi, if a dessert appears in front of you, all kinds of reactions will happen in the Prakriti, and that will make you want to enjoy this cheesecake. You see, at that time you have to talk to Arthur, you don't need to do this. You see, you got to, just eat a little bit. Don't eat the whole cheesecake. It's not good for you, etc. Keep it separate. You see. And so if to continue to keep yourself separate from Arthur, the Prakriti of Arthur, that is called the Purusharth, you see. And so the Prakriti will make you eat a few few cheesecakes. If it loves cheesecake, it might even make you eat 2 and 3 cheesecakes instead of just 1 cheesecake, you see. So Purusharth means to be aware that this Prakriti is eating and I am the non-eater. I am simply the knower of it. I am pure soul, you see. Keep yourself separate, and then really keep it. This is the Purusharth. The Purusharth has to be done by one who has become the Purush, the self, the awakened one. You see, Prakriti cannot do that Purusharth. You see, and slowly one become the natural knower and seer of all that is happening to the Prakriti of Arthur, Prakriti of Jeff, Prakriti of Nada. You see, this is all will happen, and and then little bit later afterward you say, oh, I overate. I ate 2 cheesecakes instead of 1. And so, and then, then the Prakriti will entangle you, you say, oh, what do I do now? Too many calories went in, etc., etc. Now, in Deepak Bhai, it's not, we're not talking about it. It is the Uday. Uday means the unfolding. His name is Uday. And he says that Prakriti is doing it. Prakriti is just Prakriti under the influence of Vyavasthit. All is correct. Your knowledge runs it in with reference. Initially there is knowledge. Oh, if I get a cheesecake, I'll be very happy. And when the cheesecake appears in the front of you, then there is a knowledge. You have a knowledge that if I eat a cheesecake for lunch, it is good for me. And so your knowledge is that. Then therefore you will. You see, it is associated with. You see, yes, it is good for me. It's good for my body, etc., etc. It's good for my weight. It's good. It's got cheese in it. It's got protein in it, etc. You see, and then it will come into contact. And then when it comes into contact, then it is, you see, because this is all the Gnan was in a previous life. Now it comes into contact. You see, and then Vyavasthit scientific circumstantial evidences will bring the cheesecake in front of you. Prakriti will arise. And then when the circumstances of the cheesecake will appear in front of you in this life, you see, and then Vyavasthit is giving you the cheesecake in front of you. You see, Yeah, Vyavasthit is making the Prakruti walk, you see, actually. The Vyavasthit is making the Prakruti walk or run around or move in different directions. And so, and provides all the, first there is the knowledge that, oh, in the last, and then the Vyavasthit gives the effect, you see. So this is how it works. When one becomes separate from it, from Prakriti, is there any kind of control of the Prakriti? No, then Prakriti in its own natural way, it dissipates and dissolves and goes away. It thaws. A little boy, will walk across you and he will even put his foot over your lap and he will just walk all over you. But you see, that is the natural Prakriti of the little boy. Now, if a 5-year-old does it or a 6-year-old does it, then you will be very upset, you see, because his ego is developed, you see. Because but you see, in the same way, there is a speech. If the speech is spoken naturally, then it will not hurt the other person. But if it is, when you become separate from the speech, then your speech will not hurt the other person. That is the final Purusharth. And you see, then you know, you see, like Niruma, you can see she was so natural as a woman in front of, thousands and thousands of men, because she was a natural Stree lady woman in front of all of these men, you see. It was a natural female Prakriti. She was, you see. So, whatever, supposing if you have overeaten, will you not have to spend a longer time on the toilet relieving yourself? That's all this. If you have not hardly eaten anything, will you need to sit on the toilet too long? You see, this is how it is. Prakriti is not there to give you problems, you see. Prakriti is not there to give you the problems of constipation or things like that. You see, Prakriti is only the binary code. You see, I am this, I 1 0 1 0 binary code. That is the touch point, you see. The Prakriti is doing its own thing, but just the computer does its own work, you see. All the binary codes are happening in the computer, you see, but yes, yeah, yes, 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 yes. When I want to raise my hand, it is automatically being raised, but I say I raise my hand, you see. If there's too much wind, my sleeve will kind of go back and forth in the wind of this thing. But then it says, oh no, something is making my sleeve move around. No, the wind is making the sleeve around. Because of ignorance, the ego has mixed into the Prakriti, and therefore it says it is happening to me. But if we can have absolute awareness that this is who I am in all of this, and this can, then you can remove it and remain separate from the Prakriti. Prakriti makes you angry, and therefore one says, and then he believes. And so this Prakriti makes you angry, but he says, I became angry. And the answer is coming, you see. The answer, your answer is coming ahead. So on page 16, we will take it like. Initially, first he becomes angry, and then Prakruti's anger gets charged, and then in next life when it discharges, Prakriti is becoming angry, and then he says, I am doing it. So this is how it is. First he becomes angry, then Prakriti charges that anger, and then in discharge, the Prakriti discharges anger, and then he has the decision by, he in the effective Prakriti, and in ignorance he says, I'm getting angry, and with knowledge he says, no, the Prakriti got angry. That is all. That is the only difference. There is the separation. You see, now we'll take it later. No, and when he says the entire play has come into your own control, that doesn't mean that it's your own independence has come into you. You are no longer dependent on the Prakriti. That means the entire play is now in your hand. It is called Atma Ramanata, the self play, not this play of the Prakriti, but the self play, S capital play. SELFPLAY, self play, Atma Ramanata. You see, you are absolutely independent, therefore. Whatever you see, it will go. He is not putting any more fuel into the engine, therefore the engine is not going to go anywhere, is it? You see, through kashais you were actually in bondage with the Prakriti because of kashais, you see. Now that if you're delinking, now the living kashais are gone, the live kashais are gone, the dying kashais are belonging to Eunice, they belong to Uva, they belong to Nada, you see. It says now the causal Prakriti is gone. and the effect Prakruti is there. You see, the vibhav is gone. The belief that I am this Prakriti is gone in the Gnanvidhi, and this is happening to me is gone. But the belief in doership is still there at the relative level. Even when you turn off the switch of the fast revolving fan, it will take for, even if you turned off the power connection, electric connection, it will continue to rotate for a while, will it not? And he says so. And when the power supply is on, the fan will run much more fast and much more continuously, you see. So this is how it is. It is effective Prakruti. Hmm. So when can we say that you have become free from the Prakriti? You see? When you make somebody do, when supposing a boss makes the servant work 10 to 12 hours a day, will not the servant feel very dependent on his boss? Because you see, but when he is on his own, will he not smoke the cigarette on his own and enjoy all of this pan masala, etc.? Will he not when he is not working? So, yeah, yeah. And when he is free during the afternoon nap time, then he is independent. And Dadashri says, I'm totally uh, beyond the Prakriti, and because I have crossed over the Prakriti, that means nothing can affect my own independence, says Dadashri. And Lord Krishna was continuing to see his own body as as a neighbor only, you see. And but right now, if within our own territory somebody has planted a tree, somebody takes away that little plant. Is this, how dare you take away? I planted the tree. How dare you move away my plant that I planted? You see. So this is how it is. You become the owner of not only the body but all the everything that is around you. So hey, come on, get out of the chair that you're sitting. Go away from there. The one with the natural Prakriti is so independent. They is so independent that it doesn't touch him at all. He's not at all affected. Yeah, he's not affected at all. You see, you see, like when you have to relieve your bladder, don't you run very fast from that chair? But you see, but when somebody tells you get away from here, then you are so upset and you don't want to leave your chair. So no matter what kind of insults may have, what kind of pains the Prakriti may come, supposing he's made to sit outside in the hot for 5 days. Huh. That even if I'm, the other says, even if I'm made to sleep on a mattress of flesh, of cut up flesh, it will not affect me, you see, because for me, it is as if I'm just sleeping on a mattress, that is all, you see. It won't affect me, you see. Uh, you see, this, you see, you know, supposing you visit, the light, is the light, supposing there's a very dirty toilet, the light lights up the dirty toilet as well as the very clean toilet, does it not? So that is, the light is, the light is absolutely independent, niralam, mukta, absolutely mukta, niralam. You see, so that is why we are sitting here for 12 hours a day, because this is an amazing science of the Prakriti from which I am becoming free. Everybody clapping here now? You see, both are the same. You see, swavash and pravash. Swavash means I am dependent on the S capital self. Parvash means I am dependent on the Prakriti. Both are this. You see, this is, you know, you have become free from the Prakriti, but you have not quite entered the home yet completely, and therefore, you see, that is the interim government. You see, you are free from the body complex, the Prakriti in the Gnan Vidhi, and you have entered into the interim government as Osama Pura. And the more you understand this science in exactness, then you will become the absolutely independent self. When you know who you are, and then know who the doer is, and know what is happening, and so we know already. Do you think that the Mahatmas know? All three have already begun in the Gnanvidhi at the level of the experience, 100, you know, 2% experience, 15% awareness, and 100% conviction of the self has happened. And then you see, don't you think the Prakruti will sneeze? Deepak Bhai just sneezed, you see, and oh, I just sneezed, and it's happening. Supposing all of a sudden you sneeze in such a way that something comes out of your nose, and do you feel ashamed when it is happening in public? Well, this is just happening to the Prakruti, you see. Yesterday you were talking about the Tirthankars are at 0 degrees, and will you please tell us about it? Because apparently the Gnani shares more with these boys who are with him and around him all the time, the young men. You see, Gatsu Kumar. Gatsu Kumar is somebody put hot coals on his head, and his own father-in-law put hot coals on him, but he really continued to see this and took it as a penance only, and he attained Kevad Gnan only. You see, attained full, no, absolute. You see, suppose. And supposing you add different degrees of temperature cups of different degree temperature cups of tea into a large container, then what will be the temperature in the receiving vessel? It will be much lesser than what you have put in, isn't it? Because it gets diluted, is it not? The one with the 10 degrees will come to the 22 degrees. The one that had a 45-degree temperature, it will come down to the 22 degrees. That is the common temperature of the receiving pool, you see. You see, now you see what has happened as what has frozen in the Prakruti in the last life. You see, that is it. It's the Gnani is Kashai free, absolutely Kashai free. By seeing him, by his presence, you see, he becomes Kevat Gnani. And the worldly people are saying, oh, your mother-in-law is doing this, how come you're not working, etc. So the worldly people tend to get you aggravated, whereas the words of the Gnani freezes you. The words of the Gnani freeze you, and the words of the worldly people, they boil you up. You see, this is in general. Mahatmas means they're going from and they're from 25 degrees, they're coming down to 15 degrees. And the Gnani is go from 15 to 4 degrees, you see. And the Gnanis, they're returning, you see. The more you, and the Gnani, and then when you have the clear and the distinct experience of the soul, then you become completely pure. The Mahatmas have an indistinct experience of the soul, and they're moving in the direction of the clear and distinct experience of the soul. And so from 300 to 345 they are moving, and then from 345 to 355, and then from 355 onwards you become a god, you see. And from 345 to 355 you are a Gnani, and then from 355 onwards you are called a god, you see. You're a physical god, you're a god. And from before 300 you have all these saints, etc. 300 degrees. Supposing we do pratikraman, supposing karmas have happened which make you will make you go to hell, yeah, through pratikraman all of those go away, you see. Just in fact, you don't have to worry about pratikraman at all. Just by seeing it you will become free from it. When you become more into the experience of soul, then pratikraman is not, you see. Pratikraman, bhav will be there only. It is just the intent of pratikraman. But you see, now we are making you do pratikraman because of very sticky. That means, you see, because with the pratikraman, you move away from your agreement that, I need to do that. Just to, most important thing, that the I has to separate from the one who is making the pratikramans. This is important. Deepak by giving now the role of pratikraman in the science completely, you see. The Prakruti is already formed, and therefore it is going to continue to do the good and the bad things in effect, you see. Now what are you going to do about it? The most important thing is to remain separate from it and kind of see what this is happening. And you see, if you have any opinion that tends to extend the negative behavior in the relative, then you have to do pratikraman to move away from that opinion. That is all. By remaining separate from the negative conduct that is happening, there will be no responsibility for you for the next life, you see. So you're clearly isolating yourself from it. there is two types of ego. There is the doership of the ego, and then the doership of then the ego of doership and the ego of suffering. You see, the ego of doership, and then it's in at the 4 steps and the 5 levels. Has he hurt anyone? Has he hurt anyone? Then he has to do pratikraman. But if you are aware that and if you see that who am I in all of this? Who is hurt? Who am I in all of this? You can say that why are you becoming the doer? Because the discharge ego is the doer. Why are you doing? Why are you entering into it? You are the absolute non-doer. Why are you entering into doership at all? Why are you entering into doership? And therefore, when you speak like this, then he will, because there is somebody to tell the Prakruti, then he will remain straight. But if there is instead of other people telling you, if you yourself tell, if somebody else tells the Prakruti, the ego cannot stand it. But whereas instead, if you yourself tell the ego, why don't you straighten up? Then the ego will listen because you're speaking from inside, you see. Because the ego of doership, the ego of willfulness, the ego of having it my way, all of these are very heavy egos, you see. And when it doesn't happen according to our willfulness, then it ends up hurting other people. And therefore we have to do pratikraman, you see, because it causes much more havoc. It causes lot of reactions in other people. Therefore, in Samayik, this is what we are doing. You see, in Samayik, there is a sense that I am the doer. The first thing we do is that it is all under the influence of scientific circumstantial evidences. I am not the doer. This is all happening at the relative level, and the separation in the Samayik is the most important. And with the separation in the Samayik, then you are becoming the knower and the seer, and that is the most critical thing that removes you from the Prakruti, okay? Nothing new income doesn't come in, and the old income will fish, you see? Nothing new will get charged, you see? And nothing... there is no new income and the old one goes away. When there is discharge, no new charge, Prakruti comes to an end. Up until now, there was only our doership only. Prakruti would keeps it good for a while, and at other times it would spoil it. It was just a belief we had of minus, but actually we Purush were not there, were we? It is after knowing this Gnan that we become Purush, you see. There is I-ness, minus, and I'm doing it. I'm doing this, mine, and I'm the doer, you see. And you see, I'm this, and so I'm doing it, this is mine, and then these are all of this, you see. And then you have to find out, who am I in this? What is mine? What is mine? And who is the doer? And that is all the Purusharth. This is the awareness. It begins with the awareness and the application of this awareness. You see, we have become the Purush after, but actually we have become Purush, you see. The real Purush and the relative is Prarabdha, you see. After knowing the Gnan, we have become Purush. This real is the Purush and the relative is Prarabdha. It is the effect giving Prakruti. This whole science is worth understanding. Prakruti forces one to do. If you really want to look at it, no one in the state of ignorance of the self has become separate from the Prakruti. All these people are somewhat sufferer, bhokta of the Prakruti. Who is an owner of the Prakruti? It is the one who says, I am indeed this, I am Chandubai. He is the sufferer of the Prakruti. What is Prakruti like there? It is like one's mother-in-law. It will become happy if it is shown respect as a mother-in-law. When the son says, Daddy, the Prakruti becomes happy. But this is Chandubai. He suffers all such talk. So it is not the self, but the ego by the name of Chandubai that is actually suffering all of this. The world, it is the ego that is suffering. This is a very big talk that the Gnani. In this chart, it is ego of the Prakruti that is suffering the compliments and the criticisms, the pleasure and the pain effects of the peripheral senses, you see. You see, who, when somebody compliments you, who enjoys it? It is the ego of the discharging Prakruti that is enjoying it. And there you have to say, oh, I just got respected, but you remain separate from it. You remain separate from this. And if somebody insults you at the same time, you can say that it's the ego of the Prakruti that is suffering. I'm separate from it. I'm the knower of it, you see. I don't want to go inside. So this is, Dada has made you 2%, Anubhav Lakshratiti. Now we have to go to 100% separation, you see. The 2% separation is the 2% experience of the soul, you see. The experience of the soul means exact separation. That is the final thing, you see. But you see, that means, in order not to become tanmayakar with the Prakruti, in order not to become engrossed with the Prakruti, not become Prakruti Mahi, you see, in this you have the conversation with the Prakruti, you have the knowledge of the self. The Prakruti will be have the effect because you want to be respected as a father-in-law. So Prakruti will expect that respect, and will make a face when he is not respected. But that belongs to the Prakruti, non-self complex only. It is not who you are, and it is you only. That is your Purusharth. You see, the world is controlled by the Prakriti. You see, it makes everyone do against his will, and he too does it against his will. It will make you do even if you do not want to do it. Our science shows us that this Prakriti is making us do against our will. Know that and become separate from it. But this is for the one whose dehadyas of I am this Prakriti, I am this body, I'm the one who's doing this has gone. I'm the one is gone. Otherwise, Prakriti makes the whole world dance. This is very important. This is our Purushartha. Therefore, you see, become separate from the Prakriti. That is the Purushartha of Lord Krishna too, you see. This is that was the exact end, the end result of Lord Krishna, you see. Now, Deepakbhai is not saying it, but I was, he'll say, I like Indian masala tea, but it has to have ginger in it. It has to have certain masalas in it, etc. And then you'll all said, oh, Prakriti just said it, but no, that there's no point in bickering about it. Remain separate. It is the Prakriti that is making you do this. So know this, and know this, and know that I'm not this. You see, but this is very. But you see, the mistake happens because you become Prakriti Maya, you remain as the Prakriti, you believe that it is mine, it is I'm the Prakriti, I'm doing it, and this is mine, you see, and I'm suffering. This is all the Prakriti Maya. You have become the Prakriti. You see, you should, if your name is Uwe, you say, Uwe, don't do this. If your name is Nada, you say, Nada, don't go there. You understand the Prakriti of Nada. Nada's name is the owner, ego name is the owner of the Prakriti. Your Nada is separate from you, you are separate, you see. Otherwise, this is very simple only. Otherwise, who is this Lord Krishna? It is the state of Narayan, God from Nar, ordinary human being. But he was asleep like this. Hey, one day, and he got shot by an arrow. Did he not? Did he not know that an arrow is going to come his way? He would let it happen like a drama. He knew that this was going to happen. Still, he did not change anything. Whatever is going to happen to the Prakriti in time will not let it go. Lord Krishna was aware of what was going to happen, you see. But he does not interfere in that which was going to happen in the Prakriti. And he kind of treated his entire body complex as his neighbor. Even Dada says, my body is my first neighbor. You see, you just treat, something happens to your neighbor, are you not aware of it? That is all. That's exactly how you need to be with your own Prakriti, you see. And then every day, everything. And even Dada would have, he would have a tooth that is now clearly got pus in it and it is going to rotten. Dada would not say anything about it. He will not say anything. He will just, but you don't need to put yourself there to penance. Dada would not even go to a dentist. He will let it fall off by itself, you see. He was neither the owner of the mind, neither the owner of the truth, neither the owner of the body, neither the owner of the words that came out through his medium at all. We just need to understand the state of Dada. You do not need to now start copying Dada. Oh, I've got a root canal. My doctor says root canal, but I'm going to go through it and I'm going to let it rot away and then let it fall off. You see, this is, and from this, you just have to have the understanding. That is all. You see, but Prakriti and Atma, the self, are separate, but due to their proximity, they are stuck so strongly to each other since time immemorial, they do not become unstuck at all, and therefore there seems to be oneness in their nature. Even the self, Atma, the relative self, feels that I will die, the small Atma, because it is one with the Prakriti, is it not? Hey, how can you die? But his nature has become one with the Prakriti. Oh, then somebody will look at your palm and say, oh, you've got, you're going to live about 70, your lifeline is that you live 70 years. And so, and now this, the one who looks at your hand, he has gone, his astrologist is gone, but you are still there at age 85, you see. And you said the Jyotish will empty your wallet by saying, okay, maybe you'll need to do all of these things. So when you enter into the world of astrologers, then he will empty your money. He will empty your wallet. But how can you die? Situations arise and then they die also in front of you. I'm not this situation. I'm not this avastha. I'm not this. I'm the eternal one. Knower only. We also have the experience of separation of it. With 2%, we have the 100% conviction that this is how it is, and we are the awareness of 15%. One is completely 360 degrees dependent on the Prakruti. It is just the ego wonders, the ego, I will do this and I'll do that, and that is all questioner. So from 0 to 300 degrees, the whole Prakruti is dependent. Whole Prakruti is, and is it dependent? The questioner, yes, the whole Prakruti is entirely dependent. Now, whatever is going to happen in this Prakriti, based on that, the speech comes out as an evidence, and so one adjusts and believes in his mind that it happens according to what I say. Questioner, what was the Prakriti of the Tirthankars? Was the Prakriti of the Tirthankar was also dependent on the other case? Not just of the Tirthankars, every Prakriti is dependent on external forces. Questioner, so I mean not just the no, I mean that the self and it does not have anything to do with each other, but no, both have nothing to do with each other, says Dadashri. But the Prakriti of the Tirthankars, the Gnanis have become clean in a certain way, has it not? Dadashri says one moves towards Gnan G capital as his Prakriti becomes clean, and the more he ruins his Prakriti by interfering with it, the more he goes down. As the Vibhav and Vibhav result, you see, and as the results decrease, then the result, and the Gnan will keeps on rising. One becomes lighter as he makes his Prakriti clean. You see, anger, pride, deceit, and greed will go away, and then the soul will rise automatically. The energy of this Atma will rise higher, you see. And then this will happen until the Keval Gnan, you see, and then it will go to the level of Keval Gnan. You see, and then it will continue to remain, and then his mind will be such that he will, his speech is just in the form of a deshna. He's not the owner. His mind just lasts for a second by second only. He does not go deeper into more than a second in its upyog. You see, now whatever is going to happen is Prakriti is based on that speech. Now what was the Prakriti of the one moves towards Gnan? You see, do Prakrut circumstances remain all the way to Kevad Gnan, absolute enlightenment, absolute knowledge? The other she says Prakrut circumstances can exist even after Keval Gnan. Prakriti exists until one goes to moksha. Hence, there are certain attributes, but anger, pride, deceit, and greed is gone. Therefore, whatever remains is there, and then it will go away. You see? Now he is actually the knower and seer of it. He is actually the Kevad Gnani only, the absolute one. Let us now take a break here now. We are going to take a break. Please keep sitting. They are going to give you some news here, so please sit. We have some good news. And please clap. Everybody clap now, because some good news are being announced. And then, then give the claps after you get it. For the first time, there was the PMHT Shibir in Adalaj. There were excellent experiences of Mahatmas. Because of this experience, at every local satsang center, everybody needs to there are three components. Husband, wife relations, and then parents, and children, and money interaction. All three interactions. PhD level satsangs. You see, every satsang center will have PMHT. You see, you will be will know that you will get more details from your own satsang center, PMHT satsang center. What exactly it is, we'll know when we get the news. Okay, and then when will you be giving your your presence in there? Then you will come. And then it's been arranged that only those who will give their presence in the satsang, in the local satsangs, will be given entrance to the Simana city satsangs, you see. Now, now they've created more kind of problems by, and you see, our people are such that if you do not make examinations, then they'll never learn at all, you see. So we have to, so, so we'll go to the PMHT satsang, and so if we have, and if our automatically our understanding will improve, and therefore, and our worldly interactions will improve with our wife and husband, with parents and children, and also our worldly interactions with money will also improve. And all the relative interactions with reference to money, parents and children, husband and wife, this is all, because the Prakruti is really, with the right understanding, this is the experiential, where we are special, in worldly interactions. How can we make pure vyavahar? How can you have, how the heaven can become a home, and how the two can become, live in perfect harmony like celestial beings, if there is more money and all of those things, and all these three things are going to be, we will be getting it in the PMHD satsangs, and we will make good use of that time in the PMHD satsangs, you see. We will definitely go there we will go there, we will give our presence there, we will automatically this is for our own harmony in the home, that we are going to go there, you see. Harmony in the home with our interactive relations with our children and with our spouses. And you see, you need to know all of this thing. This is essentially life without the conflict at the home only. You need to know how to be a certified parent, certified wife, certified father, and then you need to know the science of money and the science of money interactions. So this is the PMHT satsang that is going to happen, now at the coordination centers, and these are all scientific at the relative level in the PMHT. So this is all worldly interaction. We have a knowledge that is going to come to you through PMHT satsang. We think that he's saying that a lot of people, everybody is going to go and attend the satsangs of vyavahar, or relative interaction. You see from we will see a little promotion in the evening session on a little video on this. Okay, now, so the Gnani is now ending the morning session of September 16th in Adalaj. It's 1:30 a.m. In the morning here on the 16th of September, and this is actually the break session before the morning session. That's all.